Joining us now to analyze today's headlines is Rahul Mahajan. He is a sociologist and news analyst and author of Full Spectrum Dominance, U.S. Power in Iraq and Beyond. Hi, Rahul.
Hi, Sonali.
Well, President Obama has quietly extended the U.S. mission in Afghanistan, despite a public pledge to draw down troops. Previously, only about 10,000 troops were to remain as part of a bilateral status of forces agreement signed by Afghanistan's new president, Ashraf Ghani. Now, according to a story based on unnamed officials, the New York Times reports that, quote, the new authorization also allows American jets, bombers, and drones to support Afghan troops on combat missions. The paper speculates that the rise of ISIS in Iraq and Syria, as well as pressure from the Pentagon, may have led to the decision to extend combat missions. And in news that may be related, Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel is reportedly stepping down. Hagel, who is a Republican, may represent a different direction than the one the president hopes to take for the remainder of his term as he contends with a GOP-dominated Congress. Now, Rahul, do you think these two stories are related? Is Hagel being punished for not anticipating the rise of ISIS and not pushing for troops to remain in Afghanistan?
Well, I don't think that Hagel is precisely being punished, although it certainly doesn't, look very good for him. This is something that took all the Washington insiders by surprise. But the fact is that the rise of ISIS, and in the particular case of Afghanistan, the new presidency of Ashraf Ghani has meant that the United States is, the Obama administration is going for a much more militarily engaged strategy than he had been trying for the last couple of years. And, Hagel, the only expertise on the basis of which Hagel was picked as Secretary of Defense was being a Republican. Obama has, since he got into office, tried to placate a military with whom he's often been at odds about the details of strategy by putting Republicans directly in charge. And so beyond that, Hagel has little to say, I think, about the kind of war that the United States is once again going to be engaged in.
And then House Intelligence Committee Chair Mike Rogers, a Republican from Michigan, released a report on Friday investigating the government's role in Benghazi, Libya, over a deadly incident that took place nearly 2 years ago, actually more than 2 years ago, involving the death of U.S. Ambassador J. Christopher Stevens. Since then, Republicans have tirelessly attempted to use the issue to find fault with the CIA's actions, hoping to implicate the Obama administration in wrongdoing. But the report has found none. In response, Senator Lindsey Graham on Sunday told CNN that he thinks the report, quote, is full of crap and a complete bunch of garbage. Senator Graham promised to do a hard review of the report himself. Now, Rahul, do you think we can start to see the end of the story with the release of the GOP's own report? And how much of a waste of government time and resources did this whole thing represent?
Well, it's phenomenal. I mean, more effort has been spent on investigating the Benghazi attacks than was spent on 9/11. And of course, had the Republicans had their way then, virtually no effort would have been spent on investigating the 9/11 attacks. There was absolutely no there right from the beginning. I mean, it's very difficult to in a world that United States has essentially set on fire as a matter of open policy. It's very difficult to predict every single, little flame that will break out. So the fact that the Benghazi attacks happened is hardly represents some kind of systemic intelligence failure. So, I think that, yes, I think that it's really a kind of a surprise that a Republican-dominated committee put out this report. And I think maybe it means that the Republicans are going to go on to new and more interesting spurious claims.
And finally, the much-anticipated announcement by a St. Louis, Missouri grand jury over whether or not to indict Officer Darren Wilson with charges has not yet happened. The jury reconvenes today as anti-police brutality protesters and pro-police activists continue to wait with bated breath. Storefronts have been barricaded, 100 FBI agents have been deployed, and police have taken over part of a shopping mall outside Ferguson to use as command headquarters. Protesters are still marching on the streets and have been arrested in small numbers each night. 2 men associated with the political group, the New Black Panther Party, were recently arrested for illegal gun purchases, while a woman who reportedly bought a gun in preparation for the decision accidentally got killed when her gun discharged during a car accident. Now, Rahul, one would imagine we were all awaiting the conviction or acquittal of an officer actually charged with a crime, but we're only waiting to find out if he will be charged. What do you make of all this anticipation?
Well, aside from the fact that it is an extremely bad idea to play around with a loaded gun in a car, uh, I have to say that I think that all of this indicates that this issue of police brutality, of unjustified police killings, is at its sort of highest peak since Rodney King, and in more than 20 years now. And all of this, the anticipation that's going on, is not so much over the direct importance of the hearing being being awaited, but the fact that this issue has been brought very clearly to national attention. Now, every time something like this happens, like the 12-year-old boy who was shot in Cleveland and killed while brandishing a BB gun, every single one of these things is adding to the fervor around the country, and particularly in Ferguson.
Well, Rahul, I want to thank you very much for joining us today. We'll talk to you again next week.
See you then.
Rahul Mahajan is our daily Newsflash guest expert. He's a sociologist and news analyst and author of Full Spectrum Dominance, U.S. Power in Iraq and Beyond. This is Uprising, and by the way, you can now watch our program on Free Speech TV every day at 3 p.m. Pacific Time and 6 p.m. Eastern. You can catch us on Free Speech TV, which airs on Dish Network, channel 9415, and DirecTV, channel 348. Also at freespeech.org, streaming live at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. And if you can't get any of that, go to our YouTube channel, where we'd love for you to subscribe at youtube.com/uprising with Sonali. We'll be right back.